For the first time in its history, the top lawman in the United States is black. Eric Holder, a former judge and prosecutor, inherits a department struggling with many issues. But for him, the racial divide in the country's justice system is a priority. The US has a quarter of the world's prisoners, but has less than 5% of the global population. On any given day, there are more than 2.3 million people behind bars in America, more than in any other country. In America's prisons, the racial disparities persist, black males making up 36% of the prison population, even though they only account for 6% of the US population as a whole. In contrast, white males make up 31% of prisoners, while accounting for about 40% of the population. In his brief time as the US Attorney General, Eric Holder has already generated controversy, making it clear he's ready to talk about race even if it hurts. In the first of our special series on crime and punishment, Nick Spicer brings us this report.
Eric Holder disrupted the harmony at a ceremony celebrating Black History Month with a comment about race. It was a bombshell, signaling he was ready to face the issue of racial misunderstandings head-on.
Though this nation has proudly thought of itself as an ethnic melting pot, in things racial, we have always been, and we, I believe, continue to be, in too many ways, essentially a nation of cowards.
This is a remark of almost paralyzing stupidity.
Politicians on the right hit back hard at the new Justice Minister.
Let me say to Attorney General Holder, I welcome an opportunity to have a dialogue with you about cowardice, anywhere, anytime.
The airwaves on both TV and radio filled with questions for America's new top law officer, and sometimes even outrage.
You got a black president, a black attorney general, and it's still not enough. And it's still not enough. It's still we shall overcome. Now, when does it overcome already? When do I stop hearing this garbage?
People who know Holder think he may have made a poor choice of words.
I think, unfortunately, a lot of people perceive that when he made that statement, he was only referencing white people, and I think he was referencing all Americans.
But Judge Reggie Walton says whatever the reference intended, there's a lack of understanding about how black Americans experience the judicial system.
We know that when it comes to the death penalty, that if you are black in America, you have a lot greater chance of receiving the death penalty, especially if you are convicted of having killed someone who was white. I mean, the statistics clearly show that. So race, unfortunately, is still an issue in America.
The Justice Department has been a champion of the cause of civil rights in the United States. It defended the Freedom Riders who led voter registration drives amongst poor black people. It then helped ensure the integration of African Americans in whites-only universities. But decades after those historic victories, some are wondering if the Justice Department now hasn't become a cause of racial inequity. African Americans have long faced police brutality, as in the Rodney King beating captured on amateur video. Racial profiling, investigating black people simply because they are black, has created distrust and fear. There are 6 times more black Americans behind bars than white, and 3 times more blacks than Latinos. It is that often ignored reality that Holder seemed to want acknowledged in his speech.
An appreciation of the unique black past acquired through the study of black history will help to lead to understanding and true compassion in the present, where it is still so sorely needed, and to a future where all of our people are truly valued. Thank you.
We took young people on trips, and all the men, including Eric, engaged in those types of activities.
While working as a young prosecutor, Holder volunteered to mentor black kids after school, just as the crack cocaine epidemic ravaged their community in the 80s and 90s. His approach involves reaching out personally to the communities where he applies the law.
Most of us felt that, and still feel that, you want to do as much as you can on the front end to ensure you don't have young people engaging and becoming involved with the criminal justice system, the juvenile justice system on the back end.
Holder may be mindful of the problems black people face, but there is much, much more on his plate. He has already been criticized for not undoing quickly enough the controversial policies of the previous administration of George Bush, especially those policies giving the government the right to keep secrets in terrorism cases. Holder has 10,000 employees and is the top law enforcement officer in the USA. He has to decide what to do with Guantanamo detainees and, for example, how to punish those in the ongoing drug war in Mexico. But as busy as he will be in his new job, there is still hope Holder's understanding of the issues will help reduce the number of black men in jail.
I think we're going to see from this Attorney General a completely different perspective and picture of not only the need to punish and to exact retribution in some cases, but the need to be able to provide young people, particularly young black men, with certain things in life.
Justice, of course, is supposed to be blind. But in Holder's vision, it seems that being colorblind